Now, Jay told you a lot about the data briefing, but I wanted to tell you 3 items from the briefing that I think are key to the learning resource industry. And I want to talk about bridges today. Bridges are transition points from one side of the valley to the other, if you will. And we are experiencing several in our industry right now. And I've broken them into long-term, midterm, and near-term. The long-term bridge is the transition from print to blended materials. And AAP and AEP both believe very strongly that the world we're headed to is not a pure technology world. It's a world that blends everything we already do in the classroom with new technologies in new and interesting ways. One of the data points that jumped out at me from the data was that while we have 55 million students and 3 million teachers, which is an addressable population of 58 million, so far there are 1.5 million iPads in education. Now that's a big number, but it represents 2.5% of the total. So I just want to remind everyone that books are going to be making payroll for a while yet. And as we do that, one of the challenges I think we have as an industry, and I think this is one of the most interesting things ahead of us, is figuring out how to create these blended products. And it's not a matter of bolting technology onto what we've already doing. We actually have to reinvent what we're already doing as well. Print needs to be reinvented for the digital age, and I think that design challenge is one of the most interesting things that we all get a chance to work on in the next few years. The midterm bridge is moving from pretty much state-based standards to national standards. Now, one of the other data points that jumped out at me is in this year, 2012, the states collectively have a budget shortfall of $107 billion. And yet the full cost of implementing Common Core, when you factor in materials and testing and professional development, is estimated at about $16 billion. And I'm not sure the political will is there yet to drive that change when it actually comes to the reality of spending that money. And so I think there is an opportunity for us to help shape that. And I think there's also an opportunity for us to exercise patience as we get into that. And then the near-term bridge, as you talk to companies around the room, is simply surviving the current economic downturn. The NEA estimates that school budgets will not start growing again until 2015 and will not return to 2008 levels until 2017. So we have some time ahead of us while we're trying to do these other 2 bridges of simply trying to survive. Now, there are 3 things that research tells us that are part of a healthy response to crisis, challenge, whatever you want to call it. And I was going to say that this talk is brought to you by the letter C, because all of these words are C words. But the first is accepting the challenge and seeing it as an opportunity to do your best, to use all of the skills and abilities that you have in a way that is challenging and interesting. The second is to recognize where you have control, where you have some agency to help. And if it helps as you're sort of getting up and thinking about planning your day, say the St. Francis prayer, which is grant me the serenity to accept the budgets I don't control, and the and then the last is being part of a bigger cause, being part of something bigger. And if you think about the work that we do, we're not making the world safe for toothpaste. We are actually making a difference in the lives of children and the generations to come with the products that we build and create. And that's a very important part of why most of the people who are in this room are here today, is that we want to be in business, but we want to be part of that mission as well. And that's very important to recognize that. So as we build these bridges to the future, we've got to work together. And that is really part of the reason that AAP and AEP have come together in this conference. We can't do this alone. No one can do this alone. We've got some big challenges ahead of us, and the more that we work together and collaborate, the more successful we're all going to be.